Hi, I'm Simran. I acknowledge I'm on the traditional territory of the Taco Dene. Our group came into this course with a variety of individual perspectives that are based off our previous experiences with our own communities. Our conversations with one another expand these singular understandings towards a greater collaborative understanding of the many Indigenous communities across Canada. Discussing various topics in relation to the loss of Indigenous culture and identity throughout history has reinforced our effort to build meaningful connections with our future students and create a culturally responsive classroom experience, which is an expectation of Alberta teaching quality standards. We also have current and former school staff in our group, so there's naturally a lot of conversation about Indigenous education taking place in schools. This is an important topic, as Pratt states, educational structures revolve around the child, and Indigenous knowledge represents a collective understanding of the world. Throughout these past 7 weeks of witnessing and discussing our thoughts and feelings via combined learnings from the learning tasks and course readings, there is a consensus among our group that this course makes us all more conscious of our collective world views.
Hello, I am Sarah. I recognize that I am on Treaty 7 territory. As muskrats, we have recognized the importance of having open minds, hearts, and spirits as we listen to the truths from our Indigenous peoples. We have experienced the importance of truly listening and the impact it has on our ability to be completely present in the moment, the message being shared, and the process of internalizing its meaning. We have recognized that our role in decolonization is continuing on our learning journeys and assisting others begin theirs and on theirs. We must also give ourselves grace while we are on these journeys to pause and reflect, as the truth is at times not easy to swallow. However, it is understanding that we are on these journeys one step at a time.
Hi, my name is Jana, and I'm acknowledging that I'm on Treaty 6 territory. Through this process and our muskrat discussions, we realize that it is okay to take the time to process the emotions experienced in each lesson. It is the natural flow of learning, and that we may not always be ready to engage in the next lesson just yet. The community of knowledge is always ready for you, so give yourself the space to process the information you are learning and emotions you are feeling in each step before moving on to the next lesson. As Pratt and Daniels quote Thomas King in their Métis Remembrance of Education article, once we have heard a story, particularly a memorable story, we can never return to our uninformed state. Therefore, it is so important to take the time to build a relationship with each lesson and what knowledge and emotions can be taken away from it.
Hi, I'm Shyla, and I'm acknowledging that I am on Treaty 8 territory. After talking about the importance of integrating Aboriginal traditions into the classroom, the Muskrat group discussed ways we could do this. We all agreed that it is important to bring Indigenous traditions into the classroom, but questioned how we could do this within all discipline areas. We agreed that it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as allowing the tradition of storytelling to flow through the conversations with students. According to the authors of the article, Storytelling as a Foundation to Literacy Development for Aboriginal Children, by creating a shared pass-through narrative, there is a shared perspective on how to evaluate and interpret experiences, which leads to a shared moral perspective. We acknowledge that to begin taking steps towards reconciliation, we will place emphasis on the importance of creating relationships with the students and their families in our classrooms through welcoming traditional practices.
Hi, I'm Pete, and I'm fortunate to be able to live, work, and play on the unceded territories of the Syilx and Inklakatmuk people. As we've learned through our weekly learning circles together as the Muskrat Group, institutional systems have for decades worked to destroy the culture, land, and relationship of the Indigenous peoples in Canada. And this has had deleterious effects that continue to this day. As muskrats, we pledge to become more aware and involved in both our personal and professional lives in the Indigenous-led movements that resurrect and restore these cultural traditions and begin to repair relationships with Indigenous people to rectify these historical traumas. As educators, our role in this must move from knowledge and acknowledgement onto recognition that we have a part to play on the local level in reconciliation.
Hello, I am Lauren, and I acknowledge that I am on the traditional land of the Treaty 8. and I also acknowledge that sharing is essential to surviving and sharing knowledge as it is essential for Indigenous communities to keep their culture and language alive, just as it identifies in the Civia Mat towards future together. Therefore, as muskrats, we bring forth our understanding and truths that we've all begun to learn. We identify that reconciliation is not just about bridging gaps between us and non-Indigenous communities. It's about a foundational relationship and an opportunity for all communities to learn and respect a culture that we've never known. Boytris, Pratt, and colleagues identify that we need to acknowledge and understand the fact that meaningful systems of Indigenous communities and knowledges existed prior to settler invasion. And for that reason, we need to go back before we can go forward. We need to get uncomfortable in our learnings and our discussions. We need to sit and understand the truth being told, heard, and we need to appreciate it. As educators, we are tasked with the opportunity to shape young minds, our young leaders, and our future educators. Therefore, we need to take time to listen and to listen deeply to their stories that are being told from Indigenous students and their families, because their stories matter. We are all pre-service teachers, and it is our responsibility to continue to learn, educate, and invite the truth so we can lay a foundation to reconciliation. Thank you for listening to our Muskrat Learning.